Data is playing a vital role in the 21st century, shaping economies across the globe. This is why understanding how it can be deployed to transform emerging economies like Nigeria is critical. At the November edition of the Nigeria-South Africa Chamber of Commerce, stakeholders converged to discuss data mindset, inspiring growth and development across sectors, with Mr. Bayo Adekanmbi, Chief Transformation Officer for MTN Nigeria, as keynote speaker. He gave insights into how data has evolved as the new oil, and the way it is revolutionizing the socio-economic spheres of nations and businesses.
In the 18th, 19th, 20th century, the Industrial Revolution was powered by oil, which led to transportation industry and many new frontiers of opportunity. But I'm glad to say that 21st century digital or knowledge-based economy is going to be driven by data. And let me just give you two simple examples. Now we talk about driverless cars. We talk about driverless cars, we talk about Hyperloop. Now the question is, what is driving these two biggest revolutions? It's not oil. What is driving them are sequences of instructions that are built on the power of algorithm which responds to the issues of data. So data is driving the new, what we call the fourth industrial revolution, or the second machine age, or what is called Industry 4.0, or what some people call KSC, knowledge synthesis of everything. When everything is synthesized into one single source, whether it's machine learning, artificial intelligence, and our cognitive intelligence resides on machine or robots who tells us what to do or what not to do. In the same way that oil-powered industrial revolution, that's the same way we see data becoming the engine of transformation that will lead us to what is going to shape the next 10, 20, 30 years. The same way oil must be refined, we must find it, we must drill for it, we must refine it, we must take it to where it's needed. That's the same way we must also get data, refine it, make it usable, make it relevant, and be able to translate it to where it can be used. Data is useless in raw form. It must be purified. And the other side of it, which I also need to say, is that the same way oil gave us two key concerns. One is pollution. The other one is, okay, let me talk about pollution, is that we're also going to see instances of information pollution, where the right data is seen in the wrong places, or the wrong data is seen in the right places. We are in the age of data. The level of data we all collect by the reason of the smartphones that we all carry in our hands is massive. The phone in your hand is more powerful than the best IBM device of 2000. That's the level of power we all have. Just imagine the number of smartphones we have today in the world. That's about 2 billion. Just imagine the level of data that we collect. Someone said that if we collate all the data that we all generate per day, based on where we go, what the emails we send, the Twitter we post, the Facebook the Instagram pictures and all that. If we collate all that and bond all of this into DVDs and stack the DVDs on top of each other, it will get to the moon 2 times. That's the level of data we create. The data we create in 2 days is far more than all the data generated from the beginning of time to 2003. For an average individual, somebody did actually work in Nigeria that an average Nigerian professional generates as much as 243 megabytes of data per day, based on the number of GPS alerts it drops via his phone, the number of data he uploads, emails that he sends, digital footprints. We are seeing an emerging generation that as soon as you get to a place, you take a picture. Oh, this is me, I'm at Eco Hotel enjoying this and all that. All these are trackable, and they say a lot about us, and they all add up to the whole global inventory of data. And all of this, when they are brought together, they give a lot of information that can become a source of business. So what is the data continuum? The data continuum is based on 3 principal levers, and I'll try to explain it. The first thing, which I believe all of us must have heard about, is what they call IoT, Internet of Things. Internet of Things. It's as simple as we all understand internet. Internet is inter-network of many computers. So there's so many computers, and when they're all networked, I go to www.Nigerian-South Africa Chamber of Commerce, and it gives me something, because whatever I'm asking for is hosted on a particular computer. So there are many computers all over the world hosting information, and all this information are connected together. Now we're going to have a situation where what we are connecting together is no more computers, it's not going to be anything. So what that means is that a car can become an Internet of Things. So I can browse into a car. I can type some IP address and it leads me to a car. I can browse for anything. I can browse into my car, my AC at home. So what that means is that I can instruct all those entities wherever I am. I know many of us today, we all have IP cameras. So if I'm in the US, I can dial into my IP camera at home and I can move my IP camera. I can see what is happening in my house, even though I'm somewhere in Bangalore or I'm somewhere in San Francisco. It doesn't make any sense. I can dial into my house. That already exists in Nigeria today, where you can dial into a camera, which is an IP address, a destination, and you can move the camera to the right and to the left, and you can see a lot of things happening around you. So those are things we call Internet of Things. You can browse to where your child is because your child becomes an address carrier. I want to know where you are per time. So those are Internet of Things. So Internet of Things means that we're going to get to a point that we're going to have so much data that all of this are generating so much data. And I'll give a very simple example of one of the things that is happening in this country that MTN is also doing to address that, a problem. We're all aware of the issue of cattle rustlers in the northern part of the country. And we ask ourselves as a business, how do we use this old big data stuff to solve this fundamental business problem? We realize that we are everywhere you go, we're pervasive, we can track anybody using the power of our SIM card. So what if we begin to host our SIM card in the body of this cow? So that every cow can host a SIM that is just less than 100 naira. And this SIM can be tracked anywhere. So if a cow strays away from a defined path, which we call, you ring fence, it can alert the cattle rearer that one of your cow is X meters away from you. And then instead of losing 200,000 naira or 300,000 naira, depending on the size of the cow, this solution from MTN is helping a lot of cattle rearers in northern Nigeria to be in charge and make control. That is use of data, Internet of Things, where every single object carries an address that is trackable, that is traceable, and that can be aggregated for usability. Either I want to do cluster analysis and all those kind of things. You need to understand that a lot of things I'm talking about are not far away. They're very close. I work with quite a lot of students through a non-profit I drive called Data Science Nigeria, particularly Unilag, those doing system engineering and computer. There's some students working on what they call emotion-sensitive ATM. There's a problem in Nigeria where somebody can be kidnapped and be taken to an ATM and you are asked to withdraw money. And people can withdraw everything and the person will go. And they can even keep the person for many days. You know what I'm talking about? I believe I'm talking to people who understand what I'm saying. Cool. Okay, good. So what are they doing? They're doing what they call, when you want to press the ATM, it can use your fingerprint and your body movement to understand if there is tension in your body. Based on the fact that the system has been instructed that when somebody is fidgety, when the eyeball is dilated to this degree, when, you know all those signs when your adrenaline is pumping, you know what I mean? All those things are being fed into the system to read it. So when somebody comes and prays, I need 150,000 naira, and there's a repeated demand for money, which is far above your normal, withdrawal behavior. Normally, you always do 5,000, 5,000, 10,000, and now you are asking for more money. And there are specific locations you tend to go to. Now, you are being seen in a different location. Let the ATM do two things. Number one, prompt the security for an alert. Even if there's money in the system, do not release money. That's an intelligence system. It's as simple as that. I'm just trying to be as practical as possible to understand that this whole issue about algorithms or applications are as simple as everything that is around us. It's just for us to understand that that is what it means in context. Okay, so I said analytics is beyond reporting. Analytics is not just a count of how many people are in a place. It's not about what has happened. It's about what could have happened. When you're using data to know how can we achieve the best outcome, what could have happened? If I want to grow my market share by 5%, what are the other levers that I can shift in my advantage? And the system can tell you, grow your data by this, reduce your price by this, increase your retail outlet by this, have this extra partner, because a system has been trained consistently to know that for every 1% growth in revenue, rainfall must be at this level, temperature must be at this level, traffic in Lagos must be at this level, customer confidence must be at this level, inflation level must be at this level. So if I need to arrive at this desired point, these are the fundamentals that must change on my path there. These are all, application. And the last one is cognitive, where a system is deciding for you. Wake up in the morning, and one chatbot rises on your phone and say, oh, good morning, Bayo. Today is a Thursday. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to do that. You don't have to go for this meeting because this meeting is less important than that meeting. Because this meeting, popularity on social media is 5%. This meeting on social media is 20%. So you're going to go for the one that is popular because the algorithm has studied the event that you have and it's talking about who are the people talking about this event. What is the value of those people talking about this event? Oh, they're high value, so you need to go there. When something is deciding for you, the reasoning and cognitive power is domiciled in machines, and machine can help us live our life. And somebody will say, oh, it's going to take our jobs. It's not going to take our job. It's actually the rise of humans to do more things and leave the small things for machines to do. Machine becomes our slave and begin to do new things.
Mr. Adekanmbi speaks further on how Nigeria can leverage on data and be competitive in a digitized era.
The most important thing for us at this time is internal capacity building to be ready to take on the world. We have to build capacity that is world ready, adopt new skills and competences that make us relevant as a nation, especially when we look at the opportunity that exists within the data science outsourcing space, which is growing so big. India is tapping into that space. Nigeria has a massive potential to lift forth from that. But we must have quality data scientists who understand the local context. Because data science is about domain knowledge. You must understand the issue and you can apply all the local insights. That cannot be done by a machine imported from any part of the world. It has to be local. So the focus should be the right regulatory environment, a private sector-driven initiative to engage the academic community, to train young Nigerians, and all the other efforts that allows us to apply data science for social good through corporate social responsibility in solving fundamental problems that are critical to us, that nobody else will be interested in, only ourselves.
And in view of that, the GDP report has come out, and of course, contractions with various sectors, including the telco, where you operate. Looking at it, what does that mean to you, and what needs to be addressed more to boost this sector, which has a lot of promises for Nigeria?
But I think we need to understand the fundamental drivers of GDP. First, consumption is about 60 to 70%. We need to understand that investment is key, government spending. I think the issue more in telco is around investment. I'm sure you are aware of what happened to dollars, so you know what's happening to some of the operators in the market. So investment was very low, but consumption is still fairly good. So what I would say essentially is that we must continue to drive consumption of telecoms by looking at new services, which a company like MTN is looking at. How do we use telecoms to drive finance, to drive music, to drive education? The more we drive consumption, which is about 60 to 70% of GDP, the more value we create in terms of the aggregate impact on the real GDP.
The fourth industrial revolution, which is all about a digital economy, brings immense opportunities for Nigeria to drive innovation anchored by data that can boost economic growth. This must be a conscious step taken by government through policies that will galvanize private sector participation.